So remember, in Western occultism, they wanted to be like Solomon. Okay, that was the whole thing. Like they wanted to be like Suleiman. And if you understand Suleiman, you understand Suleiman was basically a high sorcerer, like the top. And even the whole thing that happened between Suleiman and Makeda, also known as Queen of Sheba, is an attempted merger between the serpent and the ram clan. Okay, so there's ancient stuff that is playing out today that people don't even know about. But remember that once they found out that Suleiman, through the power of the ring, was able to command the jinn, you had men that wanted to become the masters of jinn, right? And you know this, like some of them are called sharifs, which is where we get our word sheriff from, right? And it involves silver stars and all sorts of different accoutrements that a sharif needs, which is an Arabic term, in order to be able to command jinn. So in the US, that kind of came across like the 1001 Arabian Nights, right? It was kind of brought across like, oh, you can play with it. And then a lot of these men, like those in the Lipo Lodge and many of those in Freemasonry, were initiated into that system, and that king of that system was a jinn. And so that's what I was saying by the desires. Sometimes he desires like, oh, I want to be like Solomon. I want to be this magical master. And, you know, you got to think of these guys we're all 60. They're 60, 70, 80 years old now, but they were like 21, 25 when they were approached with this proposition of being able to bring certain things from the East into the West. And of course, there was a lot of trickery. They had the Bible there. A lot of these guys were Christians. They thought that it was just, they loved dressing it up and doing the plays and everything like that. They tell you how it all happened. Some of them went to Arabia and they saw a wedding with a sheik and his wife, and the whole thing looked like Aladdin. And they were starving for culture. And they wanted to bring that in. And that was like the perfect opportunity for all of what else that comes with. Because any sheikh knows that there's jinn and that there are entities that the moment that you leave yourself open for something like that, like if you're just saying, I just want power, but you don't know what you're going to do with it. You evoking stuff, you calling upon things. Do you even really need that? How are you calling something outside of yourself? So it's just like the common questions are not really asked before the person's already initiated into an adepthood. And then what happens? It's like an extremely mature being dealing with a deformed seed. I'll say that again. It's like an extremely mature being. These beings have been around for thousands of years and they know how to keep passing, right? They slide themselves too. They know how to get in and out of lives, in and out of people. And so that being has got way more knowledge. This is whipping this person around. So you got to take a step back. Sometimes they throw all these quote books at you and all that kind of stuff. Just take a step back. If it's talking about calling something, evoking something, take a step within, actually. Get in yourself and realize that you're playing with something like a DMT journey at times, right? Like the first time that I had DMT, nobody could have ever prepared me for that. There was no words somebody could have gave me to prepare me for that. And then I found myself going all the way up through all the vibratory frequencies all of a sudden. Lucky I had done a lot of breath work and I had already cleaned up my diet and a lot of other stuff. So my experience was pretty eye-opening, literally. But that's not what happens to everybody. And I also witnessed when it didn't happen for everybody that way. Also, remember, you have a lot of these little cults going on around and I'm not using that word in a derogatory way because a cult is a culture, but more specifically, you have quote unquote new medicine men and women, shaman or whatever, knows nothing about none of this stuff we just talked about. They just dive right into that stuff. Oh, don't worry, sister, it's all okay. And they take a position that they have not been given. They take a position that they have not been given the mantle for, and then it snatches them. Next thing you know, it's about serving that person damn near. Like, oh, bring me some water. This is what you need to do in order to become holy. And I don't like that person anymore. And I'm going to have sex with all 5 of them. And all of this, you know what I mean? And it's like, that's not the person, though. There was already stuff out here, and that person was la-di-da, it's okay. And wham. And that's how that even the DMT and stuff, it hits. It's like, yo, you gone now. You can't be like, stop. You see what I mean? Now you now know. Your eyes are open. And they get infected, literally. Like they get the unclean entity inside of them, and then they're unclean. So there's also basic hygiene. We call it astral hygiene. Like, yo, man, you don't need to wear any deodorant. Man, look, nobody wants to smell you come and run around smelling like 10 wild goats. Get some baking soda and some lavender. I'm just saying, keep yourself estranged and clean now, especially. You may have been able to pull that off in the woods with you and the waterfall and everything else in that environment. Yeah, maybe. But if you in downtown Bronx, you need to have the whole armor. You know, they say if you put on the whole armor of God, that's all your chakra centers need to be on point, your crystal, you mainly your mind. You see what I mean? This is your fortress. All that other stuff is just to buoy the mind. You know what I mean? It's like, yo, I got my ring that the ancient master gave me. You see what I mean? It's like, that's to buoy your mind. I'm telling you, I'm experiencing activation in the bed with nothing. Like there's, you know, maybe for sure it's due to the work that I've done over my life, but I'm still telling you that it's not an external thing all the time. You got stuff that can assist you, especially if a person is going too far into something and you break something. Right? Like you just destroy your kidney. You see what I mean? So yeah, you may need the herbs and all those things to get yourself together, but the natural, raw, unadulterated human being is going to activate anyway when it's not in these programs and fields of the vibrations that are not harmonic with that being.